Hello there, people of the internet. I figured I'd go ahead and make a little video talking about some of the pros to tracer ammunition and some of the cons to tracer ammunition. Because of YouTube's rules and regulation, I cannot actually show tracer ammunition, so I do have just some regular old, this is standard 223 steel case. So this is just regular Full Metal Jackets, but we're going to go ahead and talk about tracer rounds, because tracer rounds are, well, what we want to discuss with this video. Normally, whenever you distinguish a tracer round compared to a normal round is just going to be a regular copper jacket like this right here. A tracer round is typically going to have a orange or red tip that goes about this far down that copper jacket, and that's going to indicate a tracer round. Now, what tracer rounds are is whenever you fire your round, all they are is they leave this red streak or this green streak or blue streak, whatever tracer round it is that you're using. They just leave a colored streak behind where the bullet was so you can see where the bullet actually went and hit. That is the idea of a tracer round. As a matter of fact, it's something that the United States and other various militaries use in their machine guns and whatnot, with lack of better terminology, because they're using a multitude of different platforms. But that's what they use in their machine guns. Every 5 rounds or so is a tracer round, and they use those tracer rounds to be able to walk their cone of fire into whatever target it is that they're looking to be able to hit. So a couple of pros with tracer rounds: if you have yourself something automatic and you're a part of some sort of military or law enforcement corps and you have to walk your cone of fire into your target, then having tracer rounds is a very good way to do that. Now, that being said, we're going to go ahead and talk about the more practical pros for tracer rounds, like, for you and myself. So one of the big pros of tracer rounds is they can actually be used to light things on fire. Normally, if you shoot gasoline or oil or something like that with just regular old ammo, it doesn't look like it does in Hollywood. This right here is not going to light it on fire, not unless you have some sort of spark or flame. Well, tracer rounds, they operate basically the same as a flare. Whenever you light a flare and you have a flare going inside of your hand and it glows and whatnot, it's basically that, but on the back of a bullet. So whenever that round impacts whatever flammable substance it is that you decide to go ahead and pop off shots at, whether or not it's oil or gasoline, or if you're shooting at a bar and they got a bunch of moonshine in there or something like that, it is a really good way to be able to light things on fire. Now, another really big pro that I've heard about this from military veterans that basically come onto the channel, and they'll tell me all sorts of stories and things that they've witnessed and done and whatnot. And I've talked about tracer rounds before, and this is a story that I heard from one of those previous videos where I've talked about this type of ammunition. They said that their commanding officer would actually use tracer rounds to be able to identify targets. If he was in a situation to where he wanted lead put in that direction or in that direction, he would send tracer rounds in that direction towards the target, and so all of his men would be able to see where the tracer rounds are going, and they'd be able to send a wall of lead in that direction. So they would basically just pay attention to where the tracer rounds are going, and that's what tracer rounds are. They literally just show a direction. They show a direction that you're shooting. They let you see your bullet as they travel, and why YouTube decides that's a bad thing, I have no idea. But they just let you see where the bullet goes, and so if you have other people who can see where the bullet goes, then they know to fire in that particular area. That being said, if you are on the opposite side of that conflict and you see tracer rounds going across a field or something like that, or coming at you, guess what? Not only have they identified you, you've identified them, because you can see exactly where those tracer rounds are coming from, so you'll be able to lay down fire as well towards that particular target. So it's kind of a two-way issue. You can show where you want fire to go, but the enemy can see where they should return fire, because they'll be able to see where those tracer rounds are coming from. Literally, tracer rounds, they let everyone see everything. So there you go. You could light fires with it. That's probably one of the really big perks. I know I keep a mag of tracer rounds inside of my just in case setup. So I keep a mag of tracer rounds just in case I gotta, take the old mag out, put the tracer rounds into my AR platform, and light a fire, shoot at a vehicle, just insert situation here where I need myself some hotness going around. So that is probably one of the bigger things that tracer rounds would be used for. That's one of the main reasons why tracer rounds are not allowed at many gun ranges, especially indoor gun ranges. They're like, hey, no tracer rounds, we don't want to start any fires, and tracer rounds can very, very much start a fire, and that can be useful if you ever need to start a fire. They can also be used for spotting and whatnot. Now, another big pro for tracer rounds, and this right here is sort of a pro. I have not actually tested this myself, but using what I know about ammunition, I'm going to go ahead and speculate this. My tracer rounds are a 41 grain projectile, if memory serves me right. It's either a 41 grain or a 44 grain. Either way, they're a lighter weight projectile than the standard 55 grain or 62 grain projectiles that you would normally get with your 5.56 ammunition. Since they're lighter weight, they should be traveling faster. If we're going to have the same pressures inside of your AR platform, then we should get more velocity out of that particular weight of 5.56 if it's a tracer round, whether or not it's a tracer round. So that being said, if you have a faster moving projectile, even though it is lighter weight, it should have more punch on target, more power on target whenever it makes impact with that target, because it should be traveling faster. Not only that, but if you're going to hit something at very long ranges, the tracer round should have a significantly less drop, since it should be traveling faster than a regular 5.56, 55 grain, or 62 grain. So if it is in fact traveling faster, I don't 100% know myself, then you would have the benefits of a faster, lighter weight projectile inside of that platform, because it should have to reach the same levels of pressure in order to cycle the system of your AR platform, because that is what they would be shot out of, either an AR or some sort of light machine gun platform or something like that. So maybe that's the case, maybe it's not. I'm not positive about that one. That is just speculation on my part, but it does make a lot of sense to me as to why that would be the case. So speaking of 5.56/223, I'm going to go ahead and shove a couple of rounds into this Ruger Mini 14. Well, this right here is just a more YouTube-friendly rifle, which is why I have this one out here today. And I'm just going to send a couple of rounds at our steel target down there. This is just regular 55 grain, full metal jackets. Nothing special about this ammunition at all. So we don't have to worry about any of the negative side effects that come with YouTube's tyrannical policies. Man, this thing is a lot of fun to shoot. Since it's heavy and steel and wood and 5.56, 223 has basically zero recoil behind it, this is a very pleasurable gun to send lead downrange with. Anyway, folks, I appreciate your time. If there's something that I missed in terms of us civilians using something like tracer ammunition, I think I've pretty much covered everything. Then, hey, let me know down in the comments. I'm sure that you guys will be able to tell me something. Fires started by tracer rounds can absolutely be a pro, but it can absolutely be a con. If you have a private range like I do, and it's dry and whatnot, don't go using tracer rounds. Like that car over there has a bunch of dead brush and whatnot inside of it, just dead grass and weeds and all sorts of stuff, and dry foam and whatnot, because it hasn't rained in like a month here in Florida as of filming this video. Don't go sending tracer rounds in that. That's a really good way to start a fire. I have started some unwanted fires with tracer ammunition. It's definitely not something that you would want to do. So bear that in mind. That could be a pro, that could be a con, depending on the context of what it is that you're trying to do. That being said, thanks for watching, folks. I do appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go ahead and go check that out. You guys go off, have a fantastic day. It looks like we have some weather coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and pack all this up and head inside and try not to get my new camera wet. So I'll see y'all in the next episode. Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.